Hey, I'm Michael, the Society Adjuster, and today we're going to be talking about something every public adjuster should be thinking about. Now, before we get into the weeds of it all, make sure you click the button, right? Make sure you like and subscribe, all the things so you don't miss out on future trainings. Okay, with that said, whether you're brand new to the industry or you've been doing this work for a long time, let's have a chat about where the industry itself is heading and what that could mean for your relevance within it. Because guys, public adjusting is in the middle of a shift right now. And it's not a loud one, it's not a dramatic one, but it is a real one. And the people who notice it early are going to have a very different career than the people who don't. Most major changes in an industry don't show up with announcements. They don't come with a warning label. They happen quietly, incrementally, and in the background, until one day the old way just stops working the way that it used to. And by the time that becomes obvious, it's already too late to catch up, or at least comfortably. You're either positioned for it, or you find yourself scrambling. Public adjusting is in one of those moments, I believe. And what's changing isn't like the core purpose of the work. That's persistent. Homeowners still need representation. Business owners do as well. Policies are still complex. Claims are still stressful events. That part isn't really going away. What's changing is how the system around us processes information, makes decisions, and measures credibility. And that shift is forcing public adjusters to either evolve how they operate or slowly lose ground without even realizing. One of the biggest forces driving this change is technology. And I don't mean technology in the shallow sense of like new software or faster tools. I'm talking about a deeper structural shift in how claims are being evaluated. Carriers are investing heavily in automation. Like they're using AI to review documentation, compare estimates, analyze photos, flag anomalies, and accelerate internal workflows. Like files are being triaged faster. Decisions are being surfaced earlier, I should say, and patterns are being recognized in ways that they weren't before. Now, that doesn't make public adjusters irrelevant, but it does change the environment, the landscape we're working within. And public adjusters who assume they can keep doing the things the same way, being loosely organized in their files, inconsistent with their documentation, using emotional arguments instead of structured ones, or relying on past glory, right, are going to feel more friction with every passing year. Not because carriers are out to get them, but because automated systems don't respond to noise or your former glory, right? They respond to clarity, they respond to structure, they respond to consistency in your documentation. And then here's the part that some might miss. The best public adjusters already operate that way, or are already transitioning over. Technology isn't replacing excellence, it's exposing the gap between professionals, right? Those who are disciplined and those who are improvising. Systems reward people who can tell a clean, logical story backed by the evidence. And that's not a threat to this profession, that's an invitation for adjusters who are willing to refine how they present their work, right? Another opportunity to win. Another major shift in this industry is transparency. Homeowners today are far more informed than they ever were a few years ago, right? They're researching policies as well. They're reading reviews. They're watching videos like this one. They're comparing professionals. They're asking better questions, and they're much quicker to sense when something feels unclear or evasive or overly complicated. Your slick salesmanship is not going to win the day, right, going forward, right? Trust is no longer automated, right? It's built through communication. And that means adjusters who rely on jargon, right, who hide behind the complexity, or who treat clients like they shouldn't ask questions, right, they're gonna struggle more than they realize. Not because homeowners are becoming more difficult, but because they're becoming more educated. Expectations will start to change. And people are gonna wanna understand what the heck is happening and have the tools to get an insight. Because they want to feel like they're included in the process, right? That's fair. It's their house. It's their business, right? They want to feel like they're being guided and not managed. And public adjusters who can explain complex issues simply without oversimplifying them and overcomplicating them, those who can educate without, overwhelming, those who can be confident without controlling in the coming years, those skills, those communication skills will matter just as much as your technical know-how, possibly even more. We're seeing a clear shift towards specialization as well. Like the era of being a generalist is beginning to fade. Public adjusting is becoming more crowded. Homeowners, attorneys, contractors, referral partners, they want to know exactly what you're good at. And they want clarity on it. All right, I do all things. I do businesses, I do properties, I do land. I'm like, okay, what do you specialize in? Right? Like, are you the right person, the right call? Are you the fit? Are you a specialist? Do you have a specific lane, commercial, large loss residential, homeowners associations, complex mitigation, right? Can you go deep into building stronger reputations that are specific, right? Because those are gonna end up having better careers. Authority creates trust, guys, and trust creates opportunity. You have to own a lane. People know exactly what problem you solve when you specialize, what you bring to the table. Collaboration is becoming more important than ever as well. Claims are no longer isolated interactions between like one adjuster and one carrier rep. They involve contractors and mitigation companies, engineers, consultants, sometimes attorneys, right? And internal carrier teams as well. The adjusters who understand how to work within that ecosystem without overstepping their role are the ones who move claims forward with less resistance. In other words, the people in the industry, right? Industry adjacent as well, and our clients need to know that you know what the crap that you're doing, and it'll be easier to understand the difference. People who treat other professionals as an adversary tend to find themselves stuck more often than they expect and will expect. Because collaboration won't mean giving up leverage, it means understanding that clarity moves faster than confrontation. The public adjuster who can communicate clearly with all stakeholders and document thoroughly and respect professional boundaries is often far more effective than the one who tries to dominate every interaction out of fear that you'll lose control of the claim. And then there's regulation. Licensing requirements are tightening. Documentation expectations are rising, and ethical scrutiny is certainly increasing. This isn't something to fear, but it is something to take seriously. Regulation rewards discipline. It rewards consistency. It rewards professionals who already treat this work like the profession that it is instead of a hustle, right? The future of public adjusting is going to demand more of you. More accuracy, more transparency, more structure, more accountability. But it's also going to reward you, and I would argue reward you more if you meet that standard. And that leads into the most important shift of all, the mindset of the adjuster. Because tools can be learned and systems can be adopted. Your skills can improve. But mindset determines whether you even see the need to evolve in the first place. What staying relevant actually looks like in practice isn't flashy. And it isn't about reinventing yourself every year either. It's about alignment. It's about understanding how the environment around you is changing and adjusting how you show up within it. The public adjusters who thrive over the next decade, in my opinion, won't necessarily be the smartest in the room or the most, impressive negotiators. They'll be the ones who understand how claims move now, how credibility is evaluated now, and how trust is built now. Because relevance isn't about experience alone, it's about how usable your experience is in the current system. And one of the biggest mistakes adjusters can make is assuming longevity automatically equates value. It implies it, but it doesn't equate it. In the industry, it matters if you're updating how you operate, right, as the industry evolves. Experience that hasn't been refined can become friction. And adjusters who stay relevant are constantly pressure testing their own processes, right? They're asking themselves whether their documentation actually tells a clear story, whether their estimates align with how carriers review files today, and whether their communication reduces confusion or adds to it. And they don't assume that they're right just because they've done it a certain way for a long time, right? They stay curious, they stay open, and they stay willing to adjust. Imagine that, adjusters willing to adjust, go figure. Another thing that defines like relevance is professionalism under pressure. Like as claims move faster and files get reviewed more thoroughly, emotional arguments start losing power. Volume loses power. Posturing loses power. What gains power is clarity. Clarity delivered consistently. The adjusters who know how to slow a file down by making it cleaner and not louder are the ones who maintain leverage. And that means presenting information in a way that makes sense to the person receiving the information. Not just to yourself, but to them. It means anticipating questions before they're asked. It means understanding how your file will be read when you're not in the room. Relevance also comes from boundaries. Like, the future belongs to adjusters who know where their role begins and when it ends. Like, you don't try to be the contractor. You don't try to be an attorney, the engineer, or the adjuster all at once, right? Overextension creates confusion, and confusion erodes trust. And adjusters who can stay in their lane, right, understand their role is to adjust the claim, ensure that the family, right, gets restored to pre-loss conditions, and the claim file reflects that and can communicate well. They'll be the professionals who move claims with less resistance, and they're seen as reliable and predictable and safe to work with. And that perception matters more than most people realize. Like, referral partners and attorneys and contractors, even carriers will gravitate towards adjusters who don't create chaos, but can be calm within it. And another major factor in staying relevant is education. But not in like the traditional sense, right, of chasing certifications just to collect them, put a bunch of letters behind your name. No, it's about understanding how the claim ecosystem actually functions and how it evolves, right? Understanding how contractors think and how carriers triage files today, how homeowners experience stress, how regulation shapes behavior. The adjusters who invest in understanding the entire landscape, and not just like their narrow task list, their internal checklist, right, are better equipped to navigate complex claims without burning bridges, right? They see the system instead of fighting it blindly. And that perspective, well, it gives them staying power. I think there's also a shift happening in how success is being measured. Like, in the past, success was often defined by how much money you could extract from a specific claim, or how hard you could push back, right, to maximize the value on a job, right? But going forward, success will increasingly be measured by consistency, by sustainability, and by reputation. Like, can you deliver strong outcomes without constant escalation? Can you build a practice that doesn't rely on or cause burnout? Can you create a name that people trust even when you're not physically present, but your brand is? Like, those are the public adjusters who last, the ones who don't just survive busy seasons, but build careers and endure quieter ones as well. And this is where mindset becomes like the dividing line. The adjusters who view every change as a threat will spend their careers overreacting. And the ones who view change as information will position themselves ahead of it. Because staying relevant doesn't mean abandoning the core values of public adjusting, right? It's just understanding that change will come, whether you like it or not, and that advocacy will still matter. Representation will still matter. Protecting homeowners will still matter. Those changes is how these values are expressed, right? And focusing on clarity instead of confrontation will allow you to succeed. Preparation in the midst of all the volume. Professionalism instead of noise. The industry needs fewer public adjusters, right, who are just focused on claims. They need people who understand that credibility compounds over time. Understand that trust is built like file by file. And those that understand that relevance, right, will understand it's not about keeping up with trends, but about staying grounded while the system evolves around you. And if you can do that, you won't have to chase relevance, because you'll be the adjuster that others refer to when claims get complex. You'll be the adjuster homeowners feel safe with. You'll be the public adjuster who can adapt without losing your identity, especially if you specialized in something. I mean, that's the future of the industry. Not louder voices, not harder fights, not a bunch of slick hair and big suits, right? But understanding that the system is changing. Technology is being added to the equation. Homeowners have more insight and are educating themselves. And if you want to be the advocate, right, that survives these challenges and can help spearhead and lead, then you need to be prepared. The standard is rising, and we need to rise to the occasion. And I believe you will. There are families that need us. Most claims still go unrepresented. The Department of Insurance in my state and in most states, right, license us to balance the scales. The insurance company has their adjuster, their professional. These families have us to be the adjuster for them, to be their professional, right? To make sure that the other team isn't the only one keeping score. They need you. They need you. So work hard, let's grow, let's stay relevant, and together we will all put more claims